And hello students, welcome once again to CSC 151. This video we're going to be going over just some standard formulas that you'll see in, different spreadsheets. Now, you've already, these are just some made up numbers I have right here. They don't actually mean much of anything. This is a made up company with made up numbers. And you've already seen me use the sum statements in the previous videos, but allow me to officially introduce it here. So as always, each and every equation must begin with an equal sign. And the moment I start typing something, it'll go and say, oh, what am I looking for? Am I looking for sort? Sort by? Am I looking for sum if, some ifs, some product? All these sort of fun things. So it'll try to, am I trying to find the sign of something? Sine, cosine, tangent, that sort of thing. The minute you start typing something, it will try and find the word you're looking for. So as long as you know generally what the word starts with, so if I start saying SU, yeah, there's some if, most recently used, but there's substitute, subtotal, there's all sorts of these things right over here. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could go into the formulas tab, we can go into, math and trigonomics functions, and we can scroll down and find it, and there it is, there's sum. I find that, going through all of these is kind of a pain in the butt because, there's text functions, there's logical functions, and if, that sort of stuff. There's financial functions, if we want to, do stuff like that. There's also the more functions, which has, statistical, which and all these hundreds of things in statistical and engineering and cube and information and compatibility and web, which I can, insert functions from the web. I just find it's easiest. Dog, stop digging in the bed. I'm trying to make a video. I find it easier just to type them out manually and know what they are. So there's sum, and it'll also tell you, like, see right here it says sum, and it says number 1, comma, number 2, comma, at dot, the ellipses, which is et cetera, et cetera. What that's telling me is that number 1, comma, number 2. It's telling me how the equation winds up working. So basically, I can just use commas to separate all my numbers, and it'll say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, so it knows that this is where that cell ends, this is where that cell ends, that's where that cell ends, so on and so forth, and it'll give me the sum. Or I could always just ignore all the commas and just put a colon in there for it to be a range. I prefer using ranges. They wind up having, the same exact, they wind up having less coding. Now, of course, I also set up my numbers in such a way that I could use a range because I have them all in a row. If they're not all in a row or all in a column, a range is not going to work. Why? Because, I can't do, this cell to, this cell without having, everything else in that range get connected. So if I have to get B2 and F10 together, obviously a range is not the best case to do this. So always put good information in to get good information out. Set things up in such a way that you can easily get the information you need without having to do some sort of bizarre, tricky coding. And as always, since I started a sum statement, it must end the sum statement. So whatever the parenthesis starts, there must be a parenthesis to close. If you forget a parenthesis and hit enter, it will automatically assume, generally in most cases, that you meant to do that, but make sure you have you get yourself in the habit of using parentheses when needed, because we will find out later that having parentheses in the right spots will make a difference later on in coding. And same thing here, if I do equal average, oh look, average, equal average, and there's my range, I just clicked and dragged, and it found the average. Equal min is going to do what it sounds like, it's going to find the minimum. Equal min, starting it, move it over there, close it out, enter, and it found the minimum number being this 457. Same thing if I want to do the maximum, equal max. You may notice that you're seeing these max, max A, max ifs. We'll be getting to those different points in later videos. But for now, I'm just going to start with just simply the maximum. And the maximum does what it sounds like it does. It finds the maximum value in these numbers. The maximum value happened to be 863. Median. Median will do what it sounds like. It'll find the middle number. And of course, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, if I have an even number, it's going to divide the two that are in the middle in half. So, boom, there we go. So you see our average was 721. Our median actually was 763 because there was this one and one of these 863. No, this guy. The 765 was the other one that was in the middle. So there we go. It split the difference between the 761 and the 765 to get that. Then we have equal mode. Now mode, you'll notice, has mode multi and mode single. So I'll just do mode single right now, and I'll just grab all that, and boom. The mode single was the 863 because it appeared twice. Now, the minute one of these does not appear twice, so if I say, I don't know, change this to an 862, it becomes not available. Also, probably some of these numbers, like the sum and the average, probably changed a little bit because I just changed the number here. Now, mode multi is slightly different in the fact that it is an array. What does that mean? That means if I were to do equal, mode dot mult, I can't do that in a single cell. I would have to have multiple cells selected so that I would have, option 1 would go here if there was a multiple cell. Option 2 would go here if there were 2 multiple cells. Option 3, so on and so forth. I would have to make an array specifically. And making an array also winds up having to do these sort of weird combinations of doing a, I believe Shift, Option, and Enter when selecting your cells for the numbers in order to get the multiple aspect across. Let me just try that. Equals mode dot mult, and then I hit Option Shift Enter. And there we go, I've got a bunch of NAs, but it went 1 NA, 2 NA, 3 NA, 4 NA, because absolutely nothing here is actually, it is actually one of these guys. But if I do that, 3, boom, there we go. I've got 2 cases, because there's 2 cases of the mode.multi that wound up getting popped up over here. Now, if I make something else, I'll make this guy the 614978. Now I've got a spill because there's 2 spills that have happened over, but the next one pops up over here, and don't know why that spill wind up happening. Why did spill happening? Spill range isn't blank. Ignore error. But point being, when you get to mode.multi, you have to make an array like this, and it'll wind up popping things up. So if I were to now change also this to let me go to 765214. Okay, that should have gotten me 3 arrays, but obviously there's some interesting coding going on there with the array. I must have done something wrong. But point being, we're not going to be using an array in here. We're just going to keep things into a single cell. So whenever we use mode, we're going to use single mode. Now, single mode will allow the option of if there's 2 cases where there be 2 different modes, it will only pick the first one. That's okay, because chances are we're not going to have a mode that's multiple in any of these assignments that we do in this class. I just want you to know that arrays exist in Excel, and that we're not going to do them. And then we'll end it off with something a little bit easier, which is equal count. Equal count will literally just count how many bits of data you have. So right now there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bits of data. Ergo, I have a 6 right there. Also, good word to note, 0 still counts as data. Yeah, 0 is data. Nothing changes about it. You know what's not data? Nothing. So now that there's nothing there, now there's a 5. But if there's a 0 here, it's still a 6. You know, even if the 0 doesn't show up, it just shows up as a dash, it's still a 0. It's still physically data. Ergo, it's counted. And those are just some of the normal, typical functions you'll wind up seeing in any sort of spreadsheet. So, we're going to, you know, those are the standard forms. We're going to go and get into some of their non-standard forms in the next couple of videos. So, see you all then. You guys have a great day, and see you in the next video. Enjoy!